There's a line from Marcus Aurelius that says, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." But here's the thing, most of us are so busy proving ourselves to others that we don't even realize how much power we lose in the process. Have you ever walked into a room and felt invisible? Or maybe you've spoken too much, laughed too hard, or tried too desperately just to fit in, only to leave feeling worse than when you came. That frustration, that emptiness, it's because true attractiveness doesn't come from noise. It comes from silence, presence, and character. Today, I'll show you the Stoic habits that make you silently attractive, the kind of person who commands attention without ever having to demand it. Before we continue, if you want to keep growing stronger in both mind and character through Stoicism, make sure to like this video and subscribe. This channel is about building a life where respect, peace, and inner power become your daily companions. Number 1, the power of presence. The first step to silent attractiveness is presence. Presence doesn't mean talking the most or showing off. It means people feel you without you having to say a word. In a world filled with constant noise, presence is magnetic. Think about the last time someone really looked at you while you spoke, without reaching for their phone or scanning the room. Didn't it feel rare? That's presence. It makes people feel valued, and in return, they value you. Stoicism teaches us to be grounded in the present moment, to treat every second like it truly matters. When you practice this, you stop rushing, stop fidgeting, stop pretending. Your calm becomes contagious. People naturally want to be around someone who makes them feel safe in a world full of chaos. But presence doesn't mean being stiff or overly serious. It's about being fully engaged, alive, and aware. Even something as simple as holding eye contact, nodding slowly, or listening without interrupting can create silent gravity around you. People sense when you're not distracted. They feel when you're fully here, and that's what pulls them closer. Here's a little humor. You don't need to stare at someone like a horror movie doll. Please don't. Presence isn't about being creepy. It's about being calmly human. Silent attractiveness begins the moment you realize being fully present is the loudest signal you can ever send. Number 2, the strength of self-control. People who can't control themselves are like open books, easy to read and easier to dismiss. The Stoics believe that self-control is freedom, and this directly translates into attractiveness. Imagine being at a party where everyone's talking over each other, trying to be the loudest, and then there's you, quiet, composed, smiling gently. That contrast alone makes you stand out without a single word. Self-control means you don't let emotions or impulses expose your weakness. You don't need to respond to every insult, laugh at every joke, or post every thought online. In fact, mystery often speaks louder than words. When you control your reactions, people can't predict you, and that unpredictability is magnetic. Think about it. How attractive is someone who doesn't get shaken easily? If everyone's panicking but you remain calm, people naturally trust you. It's the same reason leaders stand out, because when everyone else loses their grip, they keep theirs. Silent attractiveness comes from this subtle display of power. And yes, sometimes self-control is as simple as not texting back LOL to something that wasn't even funny. That's not cold. It's just refusing to hand out cheap validation. Control yourself, and the world will lean in to see what's going on inside you. Number 3, the art of listening. Most people don't listen. They just wait for their turn to speak. But silent attractiveness grows when you become the rare person who truly listens. When someone speaks and you actually hear them, without trying to top their story or hijack the conversation, you stand out. The Stoics valued wisdom, and wisdom begins with observation. When you listen deeply, you catch details others miss, and that makes people feel like you get them. And here's the secret. People don't remember every word you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. Listening makes people feel important, and importance is irresistible. But let's be clear, Listening doesn't mean nodding endlessly like a bobblehead. It's active, intentional. It's asking questions, maintaining eye contact, letting silence sit when needed. Silence, in fact, is powerful. It gives weight to the words spoken before and after. That kind of patience is rare, and that's why it's attractive. A little humor here. Listening doesn't mean you have to become a therapist at every lunch table. You're not billing by the hour. But by simply listening more than you speak, you become the person people want to open up to, and that trust makes your presence unforgettable. Number 4, the quiet confidence of simplicity. Confidence is often misunderstood. Many think it's about showing off, bragging, or being the loudest in the room. But Stoics remind us, confidence is quiet, insecurity is loud. The truly attractive don't need to announce their worth. It shines through naturally. Simplicity is the mark of this confidence. You don't need flashy clothes, endless selfies, or rehearsed one-liners to prove yourself. In fact, overcompensation is a signal of weakness. Silent attractiveness comes when you let your character, not your decorations, do the talking. Think about a person who dresses simply, speaks calmly, and doesn't rush to fill silences. They give off the vibe of someone who knows who they are. And when you know yourself, you don't need to chase attention. That's what makes people curious. They start wondering what's beneath your calm surface. Here's the funny part. Simplicity doesn't mean living like a monk with one pair of socks. It's not about denying style. It's about not letting style replace substance. True confidence is when you walk into a room knowing you bring value, even if you're wearing the same hoodie as yesterday. Number 5, living with purpose. Attractiveness without purpose is shallow. It fades quickly. The Stoics believed in aligning your life with virtue, with meaning, with something bigger than yourself. When you live with purpose, you don't need to speak about it. It shows in the way you carry yourself. Purpose gives weight to your presence. People can feel when you're not drifting aimlessly, but moving with direction. You become inspiring not because you brag, but because your life is a silent reminder of discipline and meaning. Purpose is magnetic. It pulls people in because deep down, everyone craves it. Silent attractiveness is not about tricks. It's about building a life worth respecting. When you know where you're going, when you wake up every day with discipline and clarity, people sense it. It's in your walk, in your posture, in your choices. You don't need to shout. It's written in your energy. And here's a light note. Living with purpose doesn't mean you suddenly become a philosopher hermit on a mountain eating leaves. It can be as simple as being consistent, disciplined, and aligned with your values. That quiet fire inside you will always speak louder than noise outside. Number 6, the discipline of emotional stability. Emotions are powerful, but when left unchecked, they can make us appear weak and chaotic. Silent attractiveness thrives when you become the person who doesn't break down or explode at every inconvenience. Stoicism teaches us that our power lies in controlling what we can and letting go of what we cannot. Emotional stability is rare, and that's why it's magnetic. Think about how people react when someone is calm during conflict. Suddenly, everyone pays attention. The loudest person in the room often gets ignored, but the one who stays composed under pressure is seen as the strongest. That's the essence of attraction. It's not about the noise, it's about the steadiness. Emotional stability doesn't mean you never feel anything. It means you don't let your emotions control you. You still feel joy, sadness, frustration, but you choose your response. This makes people respect you more because they know you can't be easily manipulated or thrown off course. Of course, this doesn't mean you should act like a robot. Nobody's attracted to someone who looks like they were carved out of marble and never smiles. Emotional stability is about balance, not overreacting, but also not suppressing everything. Your strength lies in being both human and steady at the same time. Number 7, the value of selective speech. Words are powerful, but silence is often more powerful. Silent attractiveness grows when you master the art of speaking less and saying more. The Stoics warned against empty chatter because it reveals more about your weakness than your strength. When you speak only when it matters, people naturally pay attention. Think of the people who talk endlessly. Eventually, their words lose weight. Now compare that to someone who rarely speaks, but when they do, every sentence feels intentional. That's influence. That's the kind of presence people respect and remember. Selective speech doesn't mean you become boring or aloof. It means you don't waste words on gossip, constant complaining, or bragging. You save your voice for what matters, and because of that, people lean in when you talk. You become the person who adds value instead of noise. And here's a funny truth. You don't have to turn every hangout into a TED Talk. Sometimes, just making one sharp, witty comment can say more about you than a whole hour of rambling. Speak less, but let your words cut deeper. That's how silence makes you attractive. Number 8, the aura of non-neediness. Neediness is one of the fastest ways to lose respect and attractiveness. People are drawn to those who want connection, not those who need it desperately. Stoicism teaches us to stand on our own, to be content with ourselves first. When you carry that independence, people sense it immediately. Non-neediness doesn't mean you don't value others. It means you don't beg for their attention, approval, or validation. You respect yourself enough to know that your worth isn't defined by how many likes, followers, or compliments you get. That self-assurance makes you magnetic because people love being around those who don't pressure them. Think about how draining it feels to be around someone who constantly seeks validation. Now imagine the opposite. Someone who enjoys company but doesn't collapse without it. That's freedom. That's what makes others chase you, because they sense you're not chasing them. To add a little humor, being non-needy doesn't mean becoming a lone wolf who eats dinner staring at walls just to prove a point. It simply means you enjoy connection, but you're not desperate for it. When people know you can stand strong alone, they'll want to stand beside you. Number 9, the subtlety of body language. Sometimes, what you don't say with words says more than what you do. Body language is one of the strongest tools of silent attractiveness. You don't need to announce yourself. Your posture, your movements, and your expressions do it for you. The Stoics spoke often about carrying oneself with dignity. Dignity, after all, is noticed without words. Simple things matter. Standing tall, moving calmly, not slouching, not fidgeting. People read these signals before you even open your mouth. Someone who carries themselves with quiet strength immediately commands respect, without trying too hard. And it's not about perfection. It's about awareness. A calm smile, a steady gaze, or a deliberate pause can change the whole tone of a conversation. People trust and admire those whose body language reflects self-control, and that naturally draws them in. Now, don't overthink it. Nobody's asking you to turn into a robot calculating every hand movement. Imagine shaking hands without squeezing like you're trying to juice an orange. That's enough. Small, subtle shifts in body language make a big difference. Number 10, the magnetism of consistency. People respect what they can rely on. Silent attractiveness isn't about one moment of charm. It's about showing up consistently as someone trustworthy, disciplined, and steady. In Stoicism, consistency is tied to virtue, living by principles every day, not just when it's convenient. Think about it. What's more attractive? Someone who's unpredictable, always changing moods, always breaking promises, or someone whose presence feels like a steady anchor? Consistency makes people trust you, and trust is the foundation of silent attraction. Consistency also speaks of discipline. When you're consistent in your habits, your goals, and your values, people notice, even if you never say a word about it. They admire the quiet persistence because so few have it. Your discipline becomes your silent signature. Of course, consistency doesn't mean living a boring, predictable life. It means being reliable in your character. You can surprise people with your humor or creativity, but let them never be surprised about your values. That's what keeps your silent attractiveness unshakable. Silent attractiveness is about building strength inside, not putting on a mask outside. Emotional stability, selective speech, non-neediness, body language, and consistency. These are the habits that make people respect you without you ever having to shout for it. Noise fades, but silent power endures.